Okay, guys. Hey. Welcome to my first inking live video. So we're going to ink some wires and stuff. See, this is why I can't talk and ink at the same time. I'm not one of those people who can walk and chew, well, I can walk and chew gum. I just can't talk and ink at the same time. So anywho, here we go. It's just wiring and stuff and tubes, but basically you don't have to, I'm inking with a brush, but you obviously can do it with a quill or a pen or a nib. And there's no special reason why I'm inking it with a brush other than some days I feel like inking with a brush, some days I feel like inking with a quill. But the basics are the same. Let's so when I'm inking, I'm not really thinking about a lot of stuff except for what I'm inking. You want to make sure you know what you're inking before you start inking it. Like, know what you want it to look like. Understand what's going on first before you start tracing lines, because otherwise it can turn out to be a mess that just doesn't make sense. So this is just a whole bunch of loose wiring and stuff that's coming out, and basically I guess you can use curves and templates if you want to. I'm not, but just go in, and if it's loose you want to pull out and give each item some definition. For example, you have one here in front, and beef up those lines. You have another one that's kind of coming out from behind, and follow the curves you want it to flow. And there's another one on the side. There's another one down here. Don't just throw in lines. Know what they are. Know what they're for. And you can kind of help separate and define it more with line weights and such. And you can say, hey, there's another one right there. There's another one behind it peeking out. A couple more little ones. They overlap. Tucked behind. Okay. Sometimes you can just define it a little bit more. Add more if you want to. Don't go too crazy. But so go ahead and contour them out, and then you can pull back and see if you need to beef up any more lines just to separate them more. But what will really separate them and define each wiring, tubing, whatever, you can start giving them like little details. There are some details that are already here, and they're, you know, pretty basic, pretty generic, and depending on how long you work with the pencil, you can just stick to exactly what they have if that's all they want. But if you work with someone for a while and they know what you do and give you freedom to do so, then you can do, you know, a little bit more, have a little more fun. But okay, so that's basically what you have, and there are just curves to show you, like, you know, sections, and you follow the curve, because it's not just a flat tube, they're round tubes, and you can do little singles or doubles and follow the curvature or the flow of that tube. Like, you don't want to just go flat across like that, because that, well, flattens it out, and it'll bend. So you bend along with it. Your lines or your definition should bend along with it, and you can fade it out because light will hit it. Some stuff will fade out with light and shadow. Keep curving. I used to use ellipses to do all these curves. You can, but it's very time consuming, very boring. But if you just kind of, when you're inking, think about the curves and follow the curves of the item. See, now it's starting to bend. So you just imagine what it will do as it bends, and that will help guide the lines and guide the eyes and give it, and then now it's coming towards you. So and just finish it off. You can play around with line thickness. Oops, my brush is running out of ink now. And that's actually a good time to do some dry brushing if you want to. For example, you can give a little more details. You can always take advantage of the opportunity. If the brush is drying out on you, find a spot that might look cool with some dry brush. So you can go back and do, let's do that little dry brushing right there. Give a little more fun detail and fade it out, and that just gives it another fun little detail. And you can do it up here too. And just let it fade out on its own. And it's not, you don't have to make it perfect. But, so, there's one. And, okay. So there's a couple more underneath. And you can, let's see, in a big kind of cluster like this, I don't know, separate them by doing like slightly different things with it. You can do like double bands for these guys underneath. Still curving it so you get more of a 3D effect on these pipes, tubes, wires, whatever you want to call them. Curves, and you can always do different things with them. Say, okay, let's do some silly fun stuff with this one. Say you do this little band. Now I have wet ink everywhere. I'll have to try to not put my hand on. Okay. Let's do a whole bunch of little wires going into this one. I don't know. Pretend like you're an electrician. And all this is made up, so if there is an electrician out there, please don't call me out on these things. Guys, it's made up.